Hey everyone, this morning we're at Sendai train station. As you can see there, we're making our way to Futaba, which is where the Great Eastern Earthquake and Tsunami Discovery Center are. It's about an hour and 45 minutes south of Sendai. So we are jumping on a train and we are heading out there now. Alright, so the train ticket is $16 per person one way, so you're looking at $32 return, which for a full day out I don't think is a lot to pay considering how far you are going on this journey. It is a 2-hour train ride. It's not one train, it is 2 trains, so you do need to change halfway. But again, it's all signposted, it's all directed, it's in English, you'll be able to read and see exactly where you're going. When you get to Futaba station, it is a little bit of a distance from the actual museum, which is not a problem because they've actually got hire bikes. So once you get to the station, you leave your ticket in the outgoing ticket box and then you make your way out to the front. And as you can see, we've got bikes there. So it's 100 yen rental fee. And what that is a rental fee. It's like the trolleys in Australia. You put the 100 yen in, and then you take the bike, and when you return the bike later in the day, you put the little key thing back in and the 100 yen comes back to you. So it's free basically once you get to Fukaba to get around there. There is a little shuttle bus as well, but that's 200 yen each way. So I highly recommend the bike because you get to see the actual town and ride around wherever you really want to. It'll take about 5 to 10 minutes depending on how fast you ride. And it takes you straight to the Great East Japan Earthquake and Nuclear Disaster Memorial Museum. Mouthful, I know, but it is absolutely amazing. It gives you so much insight and so much information, and it's only 600 yen per person. Now, we haven't gone in here and filmed everything in the museum. Obviously, we want people to go and visit for themselves. So I've left a lot of it out. So please, if you are in the area or thinking of going to Fukushima or Miyagi Prefecture, definitely add this to your to-do list. You see a whole timeline of exactly what happened. You see some scale models. You've got a number of different rooms which highlight the earthquake, then the tsunami, then the nuclear disaster, then the recovery. So it shows you absolutely everything from start to finish. And one thing that this area actually had that no other part of Japan had to deal with it was this was a 3-pronged disaster. First they felt the earthquake, then they had to evacuate because of the tsunami, and that took so much livelihood from people. And then they had the nuclear disaster, which was the nail in the coffin for a lot of these towns in Fukushima. And you can see that depicted on these walls of photos and artwork. That is, to tell you the truth, a little bit distressing seeing some of it. You've got kids, you've got families, you've got elderly that have lost everything in this disaster, and some of them still haven't got it back today because some of the area you still can't return to, that's still cordoned off because the radiation in the air is still too high because of the wave and the earthquake. As you can see here, 4 meters is where the water got to in this particular part of the prefecture, which is super high. I mean, 4 meters is completely damaging to this whole area, and it absolutely was. You've got the new work here is what they're doing is trying to create a parkland here and a public space to bring life back to the prefecture, and particularly back to Futaba, which they're doing amazingly well. So this was hands down one of the best experiences that we've had. So one of the benefits of riding the bike is you obviously get to explore around Futaba. Now you can't go everywhere on the bike, so you have to stick to the zone that it shows on the map, but that's okay because there's heaps to explore. Here I actually was wondering what was going on just to the left of me because there's a gate, and I looked it up, and that's what they call the difficult to return zone. So past that gate there that you see and into those hills, you can't go there and you can't reside there because of the radiation levels in the air and the soil. They haven't finished decontaminating that part of the area yet, so it's forbidden to go in there. And there is GPS tracking on the bike, so they will know if you go in there. I don't know if you get in trouble or not, but I wouldn't want to go in there anyway because of the radiation levels. As you ride back to town, you can see here that these are some of the old buildings. So you've got the hospital, I think this is a municipal office, and they're still abandoned. They still haven't returned to using these facilities yet. And there's a lot of these sort of buildings scattered throughout the town. So it's not wise to go in these areas, obviously, which we'll explain a little bit later on the video, as you'll see. But they're doing their best in their town to rehabilitate it. So they're trying to get residents back. However, only around 2% of the residents of Futaba who lived there prior to the tsunami have expressed interest in going back. So they've got a little bit of way to go to get people to be comfortable moving back to the town, and no doubt they would have made lives elsewhere. So yeah, hard for the town to come back. So if you can go and visit and share your tourist money, I'm sure they would appreciate it.
Hey guys, so we're a bit late with providing a little bit of a recap on our Futaba trip, where we went to the Great East Japan Earthquake and Nuclear Disaster Memorial Museum. Quite a long one, that one. I probably got it wrong, so it doesn't matter. But look, we probably spent a good 2-3 hours in that place. It was super informative. It's how do you even describe it? Obviously the event took place more than 13 years ago, so to see what happened and the aftermath of the things that had occurred during and after the earthquake immediately, and like the long-term effects was just mind-blowing, I suppose, and lots of things that we learned as well. So it was definitely eye-opening, and it was a sad reality to be able to look at the history of what had happened, and as I mentioned, the long-term effects of what had happened, and you can still see the impact it has on the town, the eeriness that it has. There's this sort of like, I don't know, quietness, but there's also aspects of the town wanting to, um, really want to recover as quick as possible. So they've got lots of murals and art things that's happening around the town as well. So, um, yeah, really interesting, and eye-opening is probably the word for me. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've been wanting to go to that whole area for a little while now. When we decided that we were going to come to Japan, like one of the things that I really wanted to see, and top of my list for Japan, was to go to Fukushima and also up to Iwate, which is actually where we're filming this from at the moment. Because from when that disaster happened, it was just so, I don't even know the words, but like it just consumed so much of the media at the time, and there was so much information coming around. This is happening here, and this is happening here, and this is happening there, and then it just went silent. It's like it just disappeared overnight, and it wasn't in the media anymore because it wasn't noteworthy enough, because there was no new disaster things happening. So for me, it was always about researching about how it happened, what happened. I'm a little bit of a weather nerd. So these kind of things, weather, natural disasters, all of it. So it intrigues me that what the earth can do and what Mother Nature's capable of. So to actually be where it happened and learn so much about it and understand the impact it had on those people, because the mainstream media doesn't report on that stuff. It doesn't show what's happening there. It's up to the individual communities to share their stories. And I think what Futaba has done really, really well, and you've got to remember they've only been open for 2 years. Like the people that that live in that community have only been able to come back for the last 2 years. Imagine that, 9 years where you just couldn't go home and you didn't know where you were going to go, and you didn't know what you were going to do, and you didn't know what your house was looking like. And a lot of the homes that when we were riding through Futaba are just completely overgrown with weeds and vines, and the roofs have collapsed and everything. I mean, it's shocking what these people had to endure. So the fact that the prefecture has built this and is rebuilding the town, putting so much energy and effort into rebuilding it, I think is fantastic. So the more people that go to Fukushima and to experience these towns and put money into the local community and see the museum, I think it's incredibly important, because it's a big part of the history of these people's lives, and if we can support it and help them rebuild, I think that's up to us as travelers and citizens of the world to do so. So I absolutely loved going there. I think it was fantastic. Hopefully the video that we've done does it justice. We were going to film a little bit more around the town and around some of the abandoned areas, but as we were leaving, this guy was obviously in an area that he shouldn't have been in, obviously in one of the buildings, and he was, by the looks of it, getting arrested. We don't actually know. There's about 5 or 6 police surrounding this guy. So we stuck with the main roads and kind of the video that you'll see. So yeah, really informative to Zoe's point, and really eye-opening day.
Yeah, I'd definitely go back, and as Kyle wanted to go see that school that was impacted and still standing to this day. Just a little bit of history on that. 77 students and about 12 or 13 teachers ran up the hill, and the school remained intact. They've now turned it into a museum as well.
Yeah.
And the only thing that was just a bit far from where we were at, it would have been about a 45-minute walk to get there, but I'd definitely like to go and return and check it out. But yeah, definitely worth seeing, and yeah, come with a really open mind, because it's just, as what Kyle said, what you hear from and see in the media when it was happening is very different, I think, to hearing people's stories and just all the different impacts. So impacts from moving, being refugees for the people in town, and also the impacts that they had on farming and agriculture, things that we'd not really been exposed to. So yeah, worth going to for sure.
Absolutely. Till next video.
Peace.